Welcome to FJ's AEW Draft League Season 1. Week number 4 is in the books, and oh man, what a week it was, as the beach has been broken. Not for Samuel Zayn though, sorry for putting that congratulatory curse on you. A 9-day title reign with 0 successful defenses and losing it, that's just brutal, and no one deserves that kind of run in any wrestling promotion. Anyway, AEW's Beach Break was a hell of a show this week. The tag match was kinda lackluster, and the women's gauntlet was a little all over the place, but the overall show was an amazingly fun watch and started setting up more seeds for redemption as well as Wembley. Collision had the big return of Hangman Adam Page in his home state, while Willow Nightingale returned in the aforementioned gauntlet match, and a banger of a match was had between Speedball Mike Bailey and Mark Davis. Let's dive right into this week's update. Chibi is coming into his own a bit and being helped big time by Hikaru Shida, who successfully defended her newly won TBS championship on Collision this week against Harley Cameron. I still think he's being very handicapped by taking Adam Copeland first overall, but the rest of his squad is forming a tiny bit. Chibi still had another rough week overall though, even with the extra help. And yes, I did count David Finlay and Clark Connor's dog forms from the adoption promo from the Bang Bang Gang, because that's just funny as hell to me. FJ has probably the biggest star of the week, with Kenny by God Omega ousting MJF at Beach Break in an outrageously great match for the AEW World Championship. It seems like every few weeks I have to add a match of the year candidate, and this can easily join Okada Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom, El Grande Americano versus original El Grande Americano, and Ospreay versus Swerve from Forbidden Door. I said it after the Zack Sabre Jr. match, and I'll say it again. You know absolutely zero ball if you thought Kenneth was in any way washed in the twilight of his career. Not to be outdone, the most wanted in Bandito not only had 2 title defenses, but also retained in both matchups. The first was a fine enough match against Brian Keith on ROH, and then against one of my all-time favorites, Katsuyori Shibata, on Collision. What an insane week for Omega and Bandito alone. Tech-long commentary during the women's gauntlet was hilarious, and if I could fantasy book a commentary team, Tekla and John Moxley would be 2 to 3 I would have stepping in at times at the desk. Goose had yet another solid week, with most everyone having some sort of appearance, and Harley Cameron got her a few extra points thanks to her TBS title shot against Shida. Speedball Mike Bailey getting the title shot against big man Mark Davis for the international title got her higher on the board as well. Swerve hasn't been seen since Forbidden Door, and Mark Briscoe hasn't been heard from since last week's title match defeat. But otherwise, her team is still just humming right along. We gotta get those explosives away from Darby though. He's turning a lot of the roster into pyromaniacs. Magic has one of those pyromaniacs, and after seeing Andrade dripped out on the stage to call out that phallus, Don Callis, in like 100-degree heat, that's 38 degrees Celsius for you non-freedom unit users, he's a madman for having that much aura on in such heat. Bigger problems for him though is MJF getting shellacked by Omega and losing the Triple B in that insane main event. MJF pulled out every stop, but forgot that main event Kenny needs to be double tapped, or you ain't got a prayer of winning. He's probably not too happy about Ospreay helping by taking his Dynamite Diamond ring near the end of the match, and that Hangman is now back as well. Not to mention, Dalton Castle and the Outrunners must be ops for Magic at this point, because they are nowhere to be seen on ROH TV right now. and it's looking like betting on them might be the biggest blunder of Season 1. Mora had a great week, but obviously took a tough loss, with Konosuke Takeshita losing his international title. Ugh, what the fuck? My voice is giving up. In a match of the night on any other show with Kyle Fletcher. These two are just awesome in ring, whether they're teaming or opponents. Everything is done with purpose, everything has precision, everything looks insanely crisp, and man, you could probably put this at number 5 on that match of the year list I said. Nice to see Mick Foley coming out and praising Kyle, by the way, and rightfully so, while delivering a top promo line of the year about a foot going into a certain phallic-looking man's anus. Mark Davis also had a banger of a match, successfully defending his national title against Mike Bailey. Otherwise, she had plenty of appearances like normal, but will take a big hit these next 3 to 4 weeks thanks to the G1 starting up and losing Takeshita for a bit. Finally, Reaper is heading into this week by dropping Chris Jericho and Queen Amanado for Willow Nightingale and Adam Page respectively. As people get more used to how fantasy sports work, I expect more people to do what FJ and Reaper have done with the waivers and ads and drops. Going forward, even in future seasons, others must learn that playing the waiver wire and actually keeping track of the shows and trends will be critical. He absolutely should not have gotten both of them. Hell, these two probably should have gone in the FJ's redemption draft before waivers even started last week. But, alas, here we are, so a well done goes out to him. With Kyle Fletcher winning the AEW Internet title off Takeshita, Willow getting an Eliminator match win in that women's gauntlet to go on and face Tekla at Redemption, and Adam Page coming back on Collision. He had just the most fortuitous week you could have. This is alongside most of his roster showing up on TV somewhere this week. The string of being the most consistent roster will continue. I posed this question to the team leaders, saying, if you could make any match in AEW right now, and TK, Tony Khan, had to book it, what match would you book? And here's what I got back. FJ, myself, who won't give himself a quote screen, said he would make a 20-woman battle royal. Think like those ones they used to do on SmackDown all the time in the mid-2000s. But he'd also put Tekla on commentary for that match. Athena, Jamie Hayter, Alex Windsor, Julia Hart, Sky Blue, Megan Bain, Lena Cross, Ty Mello, Anna Jay, Zeta Steele, Persephone, Mina Shirakawa, Harley Cameron, Maya World, Queen Amanada, Mercedes Moné, Hikaru Shida, Red Velvet, Willow Nightingale, and Chris Statlander would all compete in this battle royal. This would net them a random TV title shot the next week against ideally Tekla if she still had the title, but if she didn't have the title, obviously move it around to whoever did at the time, while we get more of Tekla's awesome, insane commentary as well. We'll hear from Magic next, as well as Mora. Wait, why are we playing them both?
Mercedes Moné versus Athena.
Two people I would also love to see fight is Monet and Tekla. I'm saying that not because I'm a dirty thief and stealing that idea from Magic, but because I also think it'd be a really good fight.
Oh, Tekla versus Athena and or Monet would actually be a couple of those more interesting heel versus heel matchups, because all their styles of being the bad guy are just so different from each other that I think it'd work well enough in whatever triangle of matches between them you would concoct.
Easily Tommaso Ciampa and Brody King in a cage match.
Chibi kept it clean and simple. I assume it's a simple cage match. Hard hitting, gets 15 to 20 minutes, and it's just a damn fun time. Only pinfall or escape from the cage, by the way. Not both. Never both.
I'd like to see Team MJF and Team Briscoe redone, but do it as Texas Death.
Goose went crazy style with wanting a run back of Team DC MJF, or I assume in some, other form, as well as Team Briscoe in some other form as well, but this time in a Texas death match. I like the idea, but jeez, enough people died in Death's Door alone. When will enough be enough? If you could book any match on AEW and Tony Khan was allowed to book it, what would you choose? This can include any dream match, WWE, AAA, Rev Pro, New Japan. If you could make a match, who would you pick for Tony Khan to put on the show? Finally, we're at this week's rankings. Has there been changes? Can Chibi or Magic break into the triple digits? Let's find out with 6th place belonging to Magic with 90 points now. Dalton Castle and the Outrunners are torpedoing any chance Magic has of catching up, but MJF and Andrade being fixtures on TV is greatly helping, along with his redemption picks all being on TV this week, netting him an extra 7 points. 5th place belongs to Chibi with 106 points. My god, Chibi has finally hit triple digits. While Mystico hasn't paid off yet, Claudio has already helped. Hikaru Shida has been holding it down for Chibi, winning the TBS title last week and defending it successfully this week. 4th and 3rd place are a tie between Goose and Reaper with 139 points each. This is the first time Goose has slid down this far so far, but it's mostly due to Swerve getting rest after that insane Forbidden Door match and really not knowing what's up with Mark Briscoe, who wasn't on TV this week. Reaper, on the other hand, kept his consistency alive and had one of the highest scoring weeks for a non-pay-per-view week so far. Fletcher is a huge standout as he bested Takeshita for the AEW title this week during Beach Break. Those Willow and Hangman ads will pay off big time as well. 2nd place is Mora with 140 points. Another great week anchored by Takeshita, as well as Mark Davis retaining the national title on Collision. She'll lose Take for the next number of weeks thanks to the G1, so she'll have to hope Mercedes, Knight, Davis, and Maya can help pick up the slack. And 1st place is now FJ with 145 points. FJ is atop the rankings for the first time thanks to monster weeks from Bandito and Kenny Omega. He had 35 points this week alone. Omega won his 2nd AEW World title off MJF at Beach Break. But on the other hand, Bandito had 2 title defenses this week, beating Brian Keith on RH and Katsuyori Shibata on Collision. If Tekla somehow retains against Willow come Redemption, then his team will be stacked heading into the last stretch leading to Wembley. And that's it! The MVP for this week somehow isn't Kenny Omega because Bandito ended up with 13 points off his 2 successful title defenses. I don't have much of anything witty to say, and Aurora is biting my arm currently, so I'll see you next week as AEW keeps rolling towards Canada and Redemption.